everybody, welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, where we're getting the final trial of the game. Defendant's lobby alright, but there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma, for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Yep. Edgeworth. Knowing you, you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 7777777 ID number is? Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt on this ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True, not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from this list, I can call for a ruling. On the defendant, 5 minutes after trial starts, Lana will be found guilty. But she didn't do it. I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here, to hear what you have to say. First time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth. Everything goes back to the SL-9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. I don't remember what happened in your fucking case. In DL6? Well, we reminisced on the past in that one. I'm just fucking saying. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. Now think about it. See you in court, right? This is it. If I'm ever gonna find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. February 25th. On part 25. That's kinda ironic. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Let's get this show on the road. Prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally it is when the prosecution puts forth the opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gant? Uh-oh. That's not good. Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, Algie. I'm back to the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my own work. That's a good one. Think I can top that? Don't think I can top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? There goes the silence again. Lana, that is to say, the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. This is a setup! What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request, and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. No, Lana! You can't! Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lana, Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Well, the defendant certainly has a right to self-representation. The request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. The court finds the defendant... Edgeworth? Yeah! One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut? I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Because he is fucking quitting so he doesn't give no shits anymore. Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal? Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh, to whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Scott. I request the court hear her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, I'm exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue. I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy, you'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma Skye. My occupation, I'm Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember the trial into the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Haven't you learned anything from last year, old man? Well, okay then. You sure keep it fast. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. 2 years ago, I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me. But I'll never forget what I saw that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. It's a good thing you weren't harmed. I passed out. I don't remember much. That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Well, offense may begin cross-examination. 2 years ago, and if I remember correctly... Oh, not yet, okay. 2 years ago, the family was detective at the police department, correct? Yes, she was second in command under Chief Detective Gant. And my sister, she was the best detective ever. Yes, I remember. Chief Detective Gant and Miss Scott used to be quite the pair. I believe they shared the same office. That's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. I wanted to play it that day too. The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day. Lana promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work. A man? Yes, Joe Dark. He was a serial killer. Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on the day of that ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right? Upon fleeing the room, Dark proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran to Skye in Gant's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened up the door to have a look. That's when I saw him. I'll press this one. Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on dark. Just then the lights went out. The lights. You know, it's just about this time of the year. There was a terrible storm going on and lightning struck nearby. Huh. Funny that we're talking about a case that has a blackout and I had a blackout just yesterday. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but just then lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. I told Detective about what I saw then. Detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman. The victim. Hear more. You spoke to Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago. Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw. Yes, but at the time the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. A picture? Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? This picture the witness drew, I believe is a very important meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. I drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems to have been lost. It has not been lost. On the back of the evidence list. Mr. Edgeworth? This little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you still insist on denying its existence? Uh-huh. Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold, this is the evidence list for the SL-9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over. Turn it. Oh! What's this? Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew. Indeed. 2 men appear to be wrestling here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh? These lists. They're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These 2 lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What? Enough with the cough and get water to clear the gut. Who would have thought the picture would have been drawn on the back of this list? That was handed to Detective Goodman in the questioning room. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, that means... Your Honor? Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then it might be more a drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Yes, it's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. There's something wrong. Do you even have to ask? Sorry, Your Honor. There is something wrong on the back of my list. This is that thing. Oh, God. That's that thing. That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Apparently the head of criminal affairs used this for his blueprints. I guess he was out of scrap paper. Very well, witness. Will you please testify about this picture 2 years ago? It's back, and the little badger's back. Ah. Why? What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she saw the picture. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright all I could see were shadows, and that I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. So that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. Clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder Prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin cross-examination. I know what I want to press. Not this one. Yeah, okay. Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course, this is the exact scene. It wasn't influenced in any way from Doc's detectives? Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? No, of course not. I'd better watch out, or you might find some way to cut my salary. I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives. So I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me. Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture? Oh, well, that's strange. She claims this is exactly a scene that was imprinted in her mind, and yet there's clearly a contradiction here. Exactly what happened to them. I want to read the file. Nope. Neil's autopsy report. Still piercing hard and long. This would have been hitting his back, not his heart. I think. This one's a little weird. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contained a blatant contradiction. I still remember just like it was yesterday. Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. Okay, which part? I think, oh god, which part do I... The way that he's turned? Oh god. I think it... Oh, don't say that like that! I don't say it like that! Mr. Wright! Oh god. The act of making incidental crimes are warranted death penalty. Fuck! Shit. Well, that was an offensive learning lesson. Damn it. Okay. Is it the knife part? I know exactly what it is. It's just like the knife part. I just don't remember which part. I had to find that. The knife man sold. The quest couldn't get to the final trial without a penalty. Look closely, you can see the tip is broken. In fact, you don't even have to look closely to see that. But Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See a murder weapon? Its tip is broken too. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple. Where could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. What's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. You just said the tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right, but what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation, the witness's memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already about a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, right? All I'm saying is that this broken knife might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Order! Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. Okay, here we go again. The police department and the prosecutor's office were in the ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gann. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's. There is another one. If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by a simple observational error. Mr. Wright! In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume, then, that you have some information about this other broken knife? If so, please feel free to enlighten us. Around found broken prior to murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here inside this picture. This is a picture of the awards ceremony. Oh! What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding? That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the picture was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was all unlikely at this award. Order! Neil Marshall's award King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken seal and a broken knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be! Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutors award knife with the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would have been reversed. What do you mean? I mean, this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh! Yeah. But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What's going on here? It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Wait! I remember now. I remember everything. Witness? Mr. Edgeworth. What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list. The one with that picture scribbled on the back. I knew it! This picture! I'm the one who drew it! What? You drew that? That's right! The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. All this time I'm trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you've recalled, Miss Skye? Yes, Your Honor. First the knife mix-up and now the blue badger? This should be interesting. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed toward both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. This is certainly most unusual. Try impossible. The head detective for criminal affairs didn't even design him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may now begin the cross-examination. Stop! Please, don't pursue this any further. Lana? What's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this. I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Skye. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence! The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. Seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. And all thanks to the blue badger of all fucking things. Oh, God. Yeah, okay, yep. Are you sure about this? Of course, see? I even drew a picture of him here. But the head detective of criminal affairs thought up this hideous beast, and it was just this year. Blue Badger didn't exist 2 years ago. That is all quite verifiable. I know it sounds strange. I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I've seen him before somewhere. Now I finally remember. Oh, brother, just when you thought that thing had caused enough commotion. Don't worry, the thing will cause more commotion in the investigation scheme.
Hold it!
His shadow? So you mean you didn't actually see his face with its winning smile and all? That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns. This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken. That may well be. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh, and I suppose you have an explanation? If so, by all means, please tell us what the shadow really was. Was it Emma saw in Lightning Class? Who is this blue badger really? I know, and it's a little weird one, but fuck. She's certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on that fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the blue badger. Something that's now sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright! In this room? It's not my beard, is it? Oh. Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in that instant? It is the unstable jar. The mysterious blue badger was in fact this. But that's... what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change its viewpoint? Our viewpoint. This is a little finicky. Sometimes the game does not register this. And it kind of sucks that it doesn't register this the way that you would really like.
Take that!
Hopefully that counts. Yeah, it did! First try! Game has a hard time registering it sometimes, but first try! It's a miracle or what? No one can possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the blue badger. Edward's gonna object. No! It can't be! Order! The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So that badger thing was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. Indeed, very well then. Please tell us, what's different now that we don't know the witness saw the jar? The location. Let me take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. Not only that, but she saw it at a very specific angle. Knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? Location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gant. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Yes, and it is these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Light should not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room in Chief Gant's office. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There was no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? It's time. We finally figured it out, so this is why I'm trying to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. Next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have to have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked into the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? The suit of armor holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. Yes, And since the man who was knocked away into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall, wielding the prosecutor's award. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes, there's another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Of course the perpetrator would have no idea, but nevertheless... I don't know if I can go through with this. Mr. Wright, what's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall, and we have evidence with the fingerprints on the... Ooh. You mean Mr. Marshall died? Because of me? No! I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Sky, but given the circumstances, Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe in your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have anything loose evidence that prove my sister killed Neil Marshall? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead, and we don't have a spirit medium here. She's gone for this case. We certainly can't get dead people to testify. Oh, wow, goose chase from the beginning. Touche, Miss Sky. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life. Somehow. That's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist? I gotta think back to the court record. Real murder's name the victim may have left behind is in the evidence. This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Sky. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we seek, the truth. No matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased. It's this fucking jar again! This is that blue badger from before, right? Oh, was he gonna just speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Everyone's forgotten, this is just a jar. A message was left here, on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. Looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice, for some reason the blood on some of the fragments are not wiped away. Yes, there is a line here drawn in blood. So what you're saying is these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few present moments left him to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away. The blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent. No! Motion control's time, because this was touchscreen. I believe these bloodstains will reveal us the answer. Alright. Yeah, alright, get to it, come on. This is very awkward. It's not like the, oh god, Precision does not like this. With the way I have it set up, this is not for Precision. Oh. God, it's not for Precision. No! I didn't mean to shake the... I forgot shaking the wheel, no protector, and I did that by accident trying to readjust it. Shit! I won't do it again 100 times. Ah! Come on! Oh, I had to do it again. Oh my god! This is the worst! Because of the way I have this set up, the sensor is not set up for precision. God. Come on! I can shake the wheel around all willy-nilly. God, finally. That was so dumb because of the way I have it set up. Fed eternity to prove his client's innocent. That's what I've always been thinking about, is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. See, Worthy, can't say I didn't warn you. Chief Gant, do you understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in that case, were you not? Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. What the fuck kind of noise is that? Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know we aren't defenders of justice? What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter, even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery. Ultimately, the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. Oh God, not again. What's going on at the prosecutor's office? They might have sentenced him to his death? How can he just stand there like it wasn't his fault? Order! 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 The gavels pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. But we'll have to find out in the next episode, which should be the finale. Thank you for watching. Next time will be the very long finale of Ace Attorney. See you.